Want to know which stocks are primed for big moves in May? Well, stay tuned as we give you 3 ASX stocks that are showing signs May could be their month to shine. We'll break down key levels to watch, and using our leading government-accredited share trading education, we'll show you our signature stock market playbook to navigate these stocks like a pro. I'm Philip Tortevsky, joined by senior analyst Pedro Banales, and we are Wealth Within. Good evening, mate.
Good evening, Phil. Great to be here again.
Yes, and May is one of those interesting months in that it is a stock pickers market, given May and June are generally bearish months on our market. So let's dive right in and get into our first stock, which is Develop Global Ltd, DVP. Now on the screen, Pedro, this one here, it's a miner, and you know how the mining industry has been going of late. Nice to pick up one in this space, and technically it looks very, very interesting and important where it's at right now. But before we dive into the technicals, just a little bit on this company. It's a different miner, as mentioned, in that it builds, runs and owns the mines rather than just digs it up and sells it, that type of model. It's a transition story from developer to producer to cash flow machine. Now the hard part, which is the build up and the ramp up, has been or is being completed right now. The next phase, which is production and cash flow acceleration, this is the phase that institutions care about most. And what's interesting about that is when I look at the volume on the weekly chart here, and I'll get back to the monthly chart in a second, but have a look at the volume on that weekly chart. This is the first time since January 2025, where we've seen volume consistently holding above that 8 million shares per week. And it's very obvious when you zoom it out. It's the first time in history for this stock that we've seen such a big influx of volume, and it's on this most recent move. That's hugely important to keep a close eye on, especially with what I've just said here. Now, on that monthly chart in terms of price, $4.30. You can even drop that down to $4, anywhere between $4 and $4.30 is a massive level for this stock. It's literally been the barrier to further upside since 2021. We saw the stock, after the big phase down, and this is what you generally see with these stocks after the IPO, the big drop down. But and being it is in the material space, it is relatively cyclical. A lot of the stocks in there, but you see the heightened volatility this stock went through all through this period into 2011, really resembling a stock that wasn't really priced into for sustained growth. There was, really a lot of indecision in terms of where this one should be priced. Then we get the final sell-off, we get the huge base out, then we get this really strong bit of buying come through in 2020, which was unlike anything we've seen since 2009. And we get the pullback from the sellers, but the pullback consolidates into this beautiful base to hold $2 as the new base. Now we've broken out again. The next test was $4. We've had 2 occasions now, and if I just bring that a little bit tighter through there, $4. We've had 2 occasions on the November 25 bounce down and also the February 26 attempt to go lower under $4, and twice it's rejected it. So right now we're holding the next level, which is 4, meaning price is being agreed upon there. And if it continues in the direction that it's going, and everything now is pointing to that, we could potentially see a run into this $6 to $7 mark next, which are those previous highs back during 2008 to 2011. And I mean, just on that weekly chart, like I said, it's really respecting this momentum line on the way up. So it's shot out again more recently. So it is finding a bit of resistance at 580, but I think the way it's pulling back, when you measure 1, 2, 3 weeks, and really the sellers haven't done too much by the way of pullback. So if we start to break that $6 high or that Feb 24th of April high again, it could just be the next moment this stock continues on and starts attacking those $7. Pedro, your thoughts on this? I know you do like your miners and your energy plays. This one's a little different. What are your thoughts, mate?
Well, this one is actually tied to the whole energy story because they actually own 2 advanced projects in zinc and copper. So those are 2 obviously resources that are going to be very important for the energy transition and just for energy in general. So that already is interesting in itself. On the chart, I think what is most interesting here is that it's already in a long-term uptrend, like you've identified here with the momentum line. The stock really turned a corner in late 2024 and has turned from this long-term momentum to upward. So if the phrase, the trend is your friend, is any consolidation here, then definitely that applies to this stock. And I'll just finish off quickly because I know we've touched on this one for a while now. That this downturn, this downturn that we're currently seeing, it's a little bit different from these two previous downturns. These ones were quite abrupt, and they were clearly pointing to the downside. You can see a lot of down bars here, and it was a typical kind of zigzag motion. And same with this downturn here. It was a few down bars, and it was quite abrupt, and then we had that turn. Right now, it's not wanting to fall like that. We can see that already for the last few weeks, the opens and closes have been really close together. So there's a lot of price agreement here between the buyers and the sellers, which makes me think that right now the market is just assessing what is going on, digesting it. Sellers aren't willing to drop below that $5.30, and the price is being held up. And these are the times where usually price either breaks to the upside quite heavily, which I think that it's very possible for this stock, or it could actually come back down and touch on this momentum one more time, which I'm sure as a buyer you'd probably prefer if that happens, but you don't always get that preferred option. I think it's very interesting at these price levels at the moment.
Yeah, excellent. All right, now if you do want to get an introduction into some of the things we just spoke about, check this book out, How to Beat the Managed Funds by 20%. It is free. You just have to pay the shipping. The link is in the description in this video. As always, if you want to take things to the next level and professionally, go visit the website and check out our government accredited Diploma of Share Trading and Education. It's the only one out there with that kind of classification or qualification behind it, which speaks of the information in there. And please go and check the testimonials out to see the results our clients are getting, which are amazing at the moment. But let's move on to our next stock, Pedro, which is Challenger Limited. Now, this one here, mate, on the screen is a very interesting play, especially if you are someone who is looking for something a bit more, can I say the word loosely, defensive. Nothing's really defensive because everything goes up and down. But given the fact that this is one of those stocks that, and I'll just go through some of the recent developments with this one, is it's had record annuity sales, strong inflows driving long-term earnings. There's a $150 million buyback underway. The capital structure is improving. It's redeeming capital notes and streamlining the balance sheet. And it's got that tailwind of the aging population, which is continuing to support the annuity demand. Obviously, the aging population needs some stability in retirement. They're not looking at penny stocks to keep that money flowing. And something like this, a Challenger, starts to become very attractive, especially if we are to see May and June potentially slow down in the market in terms of upside. And I don't want to take too much analysis away because the last one I took quite a bit on there, but I just point to this $7.50 level. I mean, it's huge that now we're on the flip side and bouncing off it. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, this is a stock or a company that's in the financial sector. And whilst the financial sector has been falling, this one has actually been rising. So it's been bucking the trend, which I do like. And like you mentioned here, that $7.50, what a level that one has been. It was a previous significant high here for Challenger back in 2014. I'll expand out the monthly chart and hide out this text to make the analysis a little bit clearer. But that level really is going to be the one to look out for. It's already bounced off it, and I do like this little consolidation that's happening now for the students that are practicing price analysis at the moment. I would say that this bounce that it's had after this rise from that March 2025 low to that high, now it's bounced off that level. There's multiple levels here that is telling us that this is very strong. So for the week, it started strong. It is closing high right now. This is the monthly chart anyway. If it does manage to close above, say, that $9, I say that this one is heading to the upside. We can have a look at some volume here while we're here anyway, and see if the volume is supporting the move. Right now, there's been a little bit of a fall in volume while it's rising. That's a little bit of a concern. But if volume starts to pick up again, And we can see that usually volume happens on these moves as it's going into trend. You can see back here in 2021, large volume, and then it goes into trend. Back here, large volume, and then it goes into a downtrend. Now large volume is gone into an uptrend. Right now, we haven't seen any spike in volume, so still yet to confirm. However, it is looking quite interesting. I'll change it back to the monthly here. I would expect this to maybe rise to around that previous high at least, because it is a resistance level that we saw back here in 2016. So $9.50 is going to be a bit of a ceiling for it at the moment, unless it breaks through it and then we're on the way up. But let's have a look at the overall picture, because this is a stock that's been around since 1997 here on the market, and it does have these ebbs and flows. So it's a nice trading stock. It's not something that you'd want to be holding long term. This huge spike here, I don't know what that was in the 2000s, but a lot of speculation there. You don't really want to be holding this and just being part of these large movements. It is a trading stock, and I would say that there's a nice momentum there that's been established, even though it's dipped below it a little bit. It's just that overall momentum is up at the moment. So the longer term trend is up for Challenger, and it could be in one of these periods where we are seeing that longer term kind of uptrend, like we saw from the bottom here in 2009. So we could be seeing something similar. And if that's the case, then yeah, a break of the all-time high could be the case, but it will take a while. You can see that these moves unfold over a long period of time. But right now, looking interesting, good dividend along the way as well.
Yeah, and I mean, just to harp on that point that you just mentioned, going on my chart, the biggest correction this stock's had, and if I just zoom that out for everyone, was, and to show that, hey, it's done this before, because it's an interesting point you mentioned, 85% on the biggest correction back during the GFC. We're just coming out of an 80% correction since COVID. So, you know, and very much unfolding like we're seeing now on that initial run up, the consolidation, and then the next leg. So good point. Good point. We're very well maybe at the start of that next expansion, and the projections, or I guess price corrections, seem to agree on that one. Now, let's move to our next stock, which is A2 Milk. Now, this one's had massive news come out today. Basically, it has recalled 3 batches of its US infant formula after testing detected a toxin, cereulide, I think it's called, as a precaution with no reported illness. Now, the issue is isolated to the US label product with regulators involved, but it carries potential reputational risk for the brand. Now, Pedro, we're going to get into the chart of this one now, but while we're looking at the chart, I wanted to speak on A2 Milk as well, because when we go and take a look at what's happening with A2 Milk here, we've seen, back, if you can remember, on the 10th of April, you were probably holidaying in Japan eating sushi, so you maybe don't remember this, but China came out saying that their birth rates were going to drop, and we saw A2 Milk go for a bit of a fall, or actually that may have been back in August. Actually, no, it was, yes, you're right, Phil, in April this year. Then we saw the market pull back, and now again we've seen today, and this is today's price action, the market drop down 14%, but look where we're closing. So from the open, literally if you were to measure just today, we're up 8%. So buyers have picked up A2 Milk right on this level. Now, I guess time will tell whether what comes out is worse or is not an issue for the company, because it's still an investigation. But what's interesting to me is that there was this gap from February 2025, and we know generally markets like to fill gaps. So the fact that we've come back smack bang onto this gap and into this momentum line here, long-term momentum, with buyers really picking it up today, makes me really think, okay, maybe, and yes, it's very early to say, but maybe this is where the reversal begins to happen, because we've also got a big gap up here, and we could potentially be moving into something to fill up at least this gap, if not go back into the long-term trend. Because really, A2 Milk, since its big correction from 2020, it's been in an upward trend from 2023 to now. So it's been in a 3-year upward trend, which is getting to almost, we're talking 15 to 20. That was 5 years. So you're well and truly pushing into those lengthy periods of, or the second longest upward movement this stock has had long term. So, unless we take out this low of November 24, it still looks, or this momentum line, to me, this stock still looks like it's in trend. We've also got this huge level here now, which is the $7 level. Ideally, you want the stock to really bounce from here and start closing back above $7. That will give a lot more confidence for me that, this is just a pullback and we're going to go high. If we start failing at 7, then maybe we're going to go lower for longer. But for now, maybe a bit of an overreaction on the news, and it seems like buyers are picking it up. So your thoughts on this one, mate?
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember covering this one multiple times. We've covered it here on the show, and that gap always bothered us. It's like it was too big. We always had the question as to whether it would keep rising, and it was always with the caveat that yes, it looks good, but that gap, it was always that gap. And interesting that it's gone back and refilled it now. And interesting that it's at that $6 level. It looks like there was a lot of demand there for that price. There's a lot of people waiting to buy it at that $6, and they've picked it back up. So in one day only, and have a look at that volume come into it. In one day only, the range for A2 Milk has been 11, a little bit more than 11% just in one day. And on that reversal, it's closing on the high, mind you. So this definitely could be that reversal. And the fact that in its history, it does fill gaps, except for this little one back here in 2024. And it does eventually fill them. The question is when. We've got two huge gaps now on the downside. So I would expect it to at least fill that one up to that $7.20. And then it could also attempt that $9. Like, this is a $4.7 billion company. This was just a minor spat in its history. In this report that's come out. So I'm sure that the reputation will be better in future. And that could be the time that it starts to move up and start to feel that $9. Actually, now I think it looks a lot more interesting than what it did back here in April 2026. Now I'd be interested to have a look at it, especially since it's bouncing off this momentum. It's looking quite nice. However, like you said, if it trades below that $6, then I'd be a lot more concerned. But this one's probably a good one for a short-term trade.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if we just go back to that monthly chart, and I think we were talking about this, whether it was Monday or Tuesday, but you saw the big run up in July 24. This run was larger than that run. And then we get two more runs that through this period, slower. So literally this market shortened down, and then we get the break of that momentum, which, saw the market come back, pull back. But you're right. Now we've had a really healthy correction. Potentially, and what it looks like on today, and one day doesn't make, obviously, a reversal, especially a serious one, but it's the start. You need to see at least this before you could even start to question, maybe are we going to push back up? So this is one, I think, for the watch list to keep in mind. But if you want more hot stock tips, check out our video. This opportunity won't last for these three ASX stocks. Bye now.